Hey, what's up everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today we're doing a breakdown video for the Deontay Wilder versus Robert Hellenius heavyweight showdown that's taking place Saturday, October 15th in the main event of I believe it's a Showtime card, but it could be a Fox card. I'm not 100%. But it's pay-per-view. I'm not sure if I'm going to be paying for it or not because I'm riding it tight on money right now, but you know, it's a good 1-2 punch at least with Wilder and Hellenius, and I'll also be doing a breakdown video on Caleb Plant and Anthony Durrell as they compete in the co-feature. But this fight right here is Deontay Wilder wanting to finish his career. He took about a year off from the fight of the year and epic third fight with Tyson Fury last year when he got knocked out in the 11th round, and he, you know, decided he wants to continue his career, and he's taking on Robert Hellenius, who's rolling right now. He's coming off back-to-back knockout wins, our victories over Adam Konaki, and you know, where he came in the underdog the first time out, and you know, a lot of people weren't going to be surprised if he lost the rematch, and he didn't lose the rematch. He fought well, fought his ass off, and got a nice win there. So now these two guys are on a collision course on October 15th. Big heavyweight showdown right here, which essentially the winner is going to be lined up to fight Andy Ruiz, who defeated Luis Ortiz in their showdown back in September. So this is a big one right here. This is a good matchup right here. So as we do with all breakdown videos, you know, I gave you the backstory of this fight so far. We're going to break down each fighter and look at their, you know, ask the same questions of each fighter. It's either, if it's a title fight, it's the champion and then the challenger. And if it's not, it's the favorite and the underdog. We'll start with the favorite, and then we ask the same questions, and I ask the two big questions at the end. Is it better for boxing if one of the other wins? And then I give my prediction. So let's start with the favorite, the former longtime heavyweight champion, Deontay Wilder. Heading into this one, he has not been very active the last 3 years. Heading into the fight, that night of the fight, he will have fought only 3 times in 3 calendar years since November of 2019. He knocked out Luis Ortiz, probably his biggest win in their rematch. Then in February of 2020, he got knocked out and dominated against Tyson Fury in their rematch. And then in October of last year, he returned and fought Fury again and got knocked out in the 11th round of their third fight. So he's heading into this one, coming off, he's lost 2 fights in a row, really wants to make a statement that he's still here and he still wants to build on his legacy. And a big fight awaits for him with Andy Ruiz. You know, Wilder, I think, has a good mind on his shoulders right now. A really good, positive, confident mind, and I think he's going to be ready to go for Hellenius on the 15th. Now, what kind of style does he need to have to win this fight? And I really believe that he needs to just throw a solid jab. It doesn't have to be all the time, but throw a solid jab, set up that big shot. Don't let Robert Hellenius push him around, you know, and all that stuff, because Robert Hellenius is a big boy. He stands pretty much the same height. They're pretty much the same height with each other. I think Wilder's 6'7", and I believe Hellenius is like 6. I think he's like 6'6" and a half or something like that. So they're right along the same lines. Hellenius is probably heavier, so Wilder's going to need to come in and kind of let him know, you know, use his power, try to land that big shot early, and put Hellenius on blast, you know, on notice that, hey, I'm right here and I'm ready to bang. So if he does that, he has a very good chance of winning this fight. Obviously, he needs to be in good shape, but I'm not predicting that this fight's going to go into the later rounds, but just in case, he needs to be built for that. Can Deontay Wilder win this fight by knockout? Absolutely. Hellenius has only been knocked out once, but he's a guy that's been hit and he's been hurt before, and he's never fought a guy with the amount of power that that Deontay Wilder has. So absolutely, I think Wilder can win this fight by knockout. Could be early, and it really could be at any moment because Wilder has that kind of power. Can Wilder win a decision? I don't think it's going to the scorecards, but yeah, he could win a decision. I think. I don't know if I classify him as the better boxer between the two, but I think he could do enough to win enough rounds to win a decision. But again, I don't think it's going to go the distance. What does a win mean for Deontay Wilder here? Well, it gets him back on track. It puts him back in line for the heavyweight title. You know, I mean, because that's essentially the goal. And it sets him up for a huge interim title fight, most likely against Andy Ruiz next year, which is big. That's a big money fight. A lot of people are going to pay attention to that one. And then that pretty much sets him up, if he becomes the interim champ, sets him up with a title shot in the second half of next year. And, you know, who knows who that could be against. That could be against, you know, a rising star. It could be against Votsick. I mean, not Votsick. It could be against Usyk. So we just got to wait and see. But definitely a win here means a lot for Deontay Wilder. It gets him right back on track towards his goal of becoming a world champion again. Now, what does a loss mean for Wilder? And it's really up in the air. You know, it really depends on how the fight goes, what kind of a loss he suffers. Because if he goes out and gets knocked out against Hellenius or beat down and it's convincing, that's probably all she wrote. Deontay Wilder probably hangs him up. He probably says, I'm done. You know, if he loses like a close decision or it's controversial, something like that, then it definitely hurts him. But, you know, I'm sure he has a rematch clause, or he can get a rematch pretty easy. So I think a loss could be devastating for him depending on how he loses. So he really, you know, he needs to be a little cautious and not get caught with something big. Now, let's switch over to the underdog, Robert Helenius. You know, Hellenius rolling into this one is coming off of two back-to-back impressive performances against Adam Konaki. He came in the underdog against Konaki. I think when COVID actually hit, I think is when that happened, right when COVID hit, and he dominated Konaki and stopped him. And then last year they rematched, and he went out there and pretty much was beating Konaki down. I think it ended by a disqualification, I think. But he got the clear-cut victory in the rematch as well. And, you know, really has put himself in position with those two wins. So he's riding a high of confidence right now. He's used to this role as the underdog. And he's coming in saying, you know, saying, fuck it, going for broke. This is a big money fight, big opportunity if he wins. So I think Robert Hellenius has the right head on his shoulder rolling into this one too. Now, what kind of style does Robert Hellenius need to have to win this fight? And because of his size, Robert Hellenius can really box with Deontay Wilder. But also, he needs to, you know, make his statement. But he doesn't need to let Deontay Wilder go out there and punk him. He's a big boy. So if he puts pressure on him and really kind of looks at the tea leaves, looks at what Tyson Fury did, maybe not press him so hard as Fury, because Fury is a big guy. But if he goes out there and kind of dictates the pace and really is in good shape and can move, he might have a chance of pulling this one out. He might have a chance of wearing down Wilder and stopping him, or maybe could pull out a decision. So I do think that's possible. Now, on that note, can Robert Hellenius win this fight by knockout? And I think the answer is yes. I think Wilder has shown that he can be hurt, obviously. Hellenius is a big boy. I think it's more likely that Hellenius would have to wear down Wilder, but would anybody be surprised with that right now? Especially Wilder, you know, hasn't fought a lot of rounds, period, but especially the last 3 years. He fought 11 against Fury. What was it? 7 against them back in 2020, and then he fought. So in the last 3 calendar years, he's only fought a total of about 23, 24 rounds total. So yeah, the possibility is definitely there that could wear down Wilder and stop him that way. So it's one of those things where, you know, it just really depends on how the fight goes, on whether you know, he can knock him out or not. Now, yeah, so I think the possibility of a knockout's there. Now, can he win a decision? And that kind of speaks to the same tune. If he could really wear him down and outbox him, you know, or just outwork him, you know, and his stamina's really good, and he doesn't let Wilder land too many of those big shots, then yeah, definitely I think he could probably get in there and walk away with a potential decision win. So yeah, I do think it's possible. What does a win mean for Robert Hellenius? I mean, it means everything. He continues to roll. A convincing and dominant win would be the biggest of his career for sure, by far, and he would he'd you know, probably retire Deontay Wilder. So, and that would be huge because he'd set himself up for Andy Ruiz. It would just be big fight after big fight after that. So, you know, a win would be epic for this guy right here, for Robert Hellenius. Now, what does a loss mean for Hellenius? You know, I don't think a loss hurts Hellenius too much because nobody's expecting him to win. You know, I think if Hellenius wanted to retire after a knockout loss, nobody would be surprised, nobody would judge him, and they'd be like, okay, bon voyage, you know, good job, you know, whatever. But if he wanted to continue, he'd be essentially what he was before with Konaki, like a gatekeeper. You know, just a little bit better known gatekeeper now. You could probably get better fights. So I don't think a loss really hurts him. So, like I said, he's going into it kind of with nothing to lose kind of deal. So that's a dangerous man right there. So we'll see. Now the last two questions that I asked for both. Is it better for boxing if Deontay Wilder wins? Or is it better for boxing if Robert Hellenius wins? That's clear cut. No doubt it's way better for boxing if Deontay Wilder wins. The reason why is Deontay Wilder is a known name with an attractive style. I mean, this guy just lays people out, knocks them out, and brutally hurts them. He's a American heavyweight doing that. I don't think we've been excited for a heavyweight with this kind of power since Mike Tyson, you know. And Deontay Wilder is, I think, such a freak in terms of his size and stature that this guy is just dangerous. He is truly the one fighter that I believe, no matter how good he is in terms of skill, all he has to do is land one punch and it could be at any moment and he'll lay you out. So it's a guy like that. It's absolutely way better for boxing if Deontay Wilder wins his fight. Robert Hellenius, I mean, it'd be good for him, but nobody's going to take this guy serious as a serious threat to win a world title or anything. He's past it. He's in his mid-30s now, and there's nothing about his style that's going to be like, oh yeah, that Hellenius guy, he ended Wilder, but yeah, he's got a real crack against Fury, you know, or he's got a real crack against Usyk. Nobody's going to think that way about him. You know, it's not going to really translate into a major thing. You know, yeah, it's going to be a big deal for him and his legacy and his career, but everybody's just going to be like, well, he beat up a washed up Deontay Wilder or a gunshot Deontay Wilder. And that's it. That's where it's going to end, in my opinion. You know, yeah, he might have a shot against Andy Ruiz and stuff like that, but it just is so much better for boxing if Deontay Wilder wins this fight. Now, my prediction. Who do I think is going to win between Deontay Wilder and Robert Hellenius? And that's clear. Deontay Wilder. I think he's going to knock Hellenius out within the first 3 or 4 rounds. He could end it in the first or second. Just depends on when he decides to let that right hand go. But Hellenius does not have the kind of style that, in my opinion, that he's going to be able to move and stay away from the power from Wilder for 12 rounds, or to be able to wear him down and press him. That's just not his style. And, you know, unless he drastically comes in the greatest shape of his life and is able to move and box and wear down Wilder, then I just don't see him doing it. So for me, I'm pretty clear cut. Deontay Wilder knows what's on the horizon. He's learned. He's still truly a great name, and you know, and his style has made him great. It really has. His power has made him great, and I think he's gonna come out. I think he's gonna get a big knockout and move his career back in the direction that it was going prior to Tyson Fury. So that's it. That's the breakdown video for Wilder and Hellenius. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.